I'm totally alien to, women's sanitary pads. Like a man like me, how would I know how to buy sanitary? One of the board members actually came up to me and she said, well, if you're going to start this meeting, please don't speak in jargons. We don't want that here. Hi, my name is Liang Wei. Today I'm going to talk about the softer side of things about being a data scientist. So we covered the core skills needed to be a data scientist in the previous video. So this time we're going to talk about the softer side of things. So what I do notice in the community is that a lot of times new data scientists that come on board, they kind of struggle because they didn't have the consulting background needed to actually drive most of the projects that they are already doing, right? Especially in small startups. So by having that consulting skill, the selling skill, and rather the ability to structure presentations to be able to deliver to the next business side, in this case, in order to get a project running in this case. So the first point I want to talk about is actually selling ice to Eskimos. So what do I mean about this? A lot of times when the data scientists, rather new data scientists, actually when they approach the business side, they don't understand the context as to where data science actually can be applied to. Alright, so for example, when I was in a board meeting, alright, of a big bank in Malaysia itself, one of the board members actually came up to me and she said, well, if you're going to start this meeting, please don't speak in jargons. We don't want that here. I was like, I was taken aback. But many years of training in Nielsen and also training with my boss, who was previously from Accenture, taught me that I always need to craft my presentation to the audience itself. And because the audience people are all high up on like C-suites, D-suites, from other companies, that's why they are board members at a particular bank, I actually have to craft my analysis into a story itself. And what I do is actually I tie the numbers and figures to actual people, alright, or events that actually happen in the space that actually I'm analyzing. At the time I was actually analyzing the branches for those banks itself. And because it was a story form, and they actually, and I told them the events that happened versus giving them plain numbers, suddenly all of the members started raising their heads above their iPad Pros. If not, they'll be just looking at the iPad Pros, and start reading and stuff. So they were listening, and then they were very engaged, and they were asking questions, right? So that's the thing that we always need to know our audience before delivering. But to get those things, so this comes to my second point, right? To get all those things to be a story, in order to get it to be a story, you actually do quite a lot of research. So you need to be wildly curious. This is my second point, yeah. You need to be extremely curious, and you always need to talk to other people outside the network, meaning outside your cubicle, if you need be. All right. So for example, I was handed to this category which I'm totally alien to, women's sanitary pads. Like a man like me, how would I know how to buy sanitary pads, right? So what I do is that I will go around, and ask what do women look for, while buying sanitary pads, then later they start telling me, it's the size of it, whether it's gel, whether it's foam, super absorbent foam and things like that. It's like, okay, I didn't know there's so many shapes and what women are looking for during those periods, and what kind of convenience they're looking for in terms of that, right? And actually I applied that in quite a lot of my other jobs when I was with telco and things like that, when I actually uncovered insights that, actually there are not a lot of real customers that come into activate every other month, because I was talking to a lot of people and sharing initial insights. So this is actually the sub point within my second point itself, where you're doing analysis, you notice something very weird and peculiar about the data itself, right? So you actually can take those little analyses that you have and then share it with the people that you're asking with, and then they actually can tell you more about what's going on. And then what you do is you actually join them, and actually you start arranging them into a story, and then you start telling them what's going on. And secondly, you always must tie an action point to whatever analysis that you're doing, be it a model or analysis. So after your whole presentation, what the team needs to do, and what do you want to request for them in order to move forward. In this case we're building a model for the team itself, and it's actually quite daunting because a lot of times we're doing a lot of geek speak, right? There's full of jargons and everything, talk about our AUCs, our accuracies, positive predicted values, our precision and recalls and things like that, or how our model is much better. But we always need to tie our results into things that the marketer or the business can mean. So, for example, the marketing team is actually targeting half the base. All right, let's just say there are 100,000 people. They're targeting 50% of them. That's 50,000, and they need to spend about $1 per person. All right, to actually blast out those ads that they actually need to blast out to. And that costs quite a lot of money. So on your end, you notice that in your model that you actually do, in the top 10% of the scored people, or rather the customer base, you actually cover 80% of the sales. So what we do is tell them, hey, since you're spending 50,000 right now, why don't you spend only about 10,000, because you need to reach 10,000 of them, but we can already cover 80% of sales. That's 80% savings for you by using our model. Of course, at the initial stage, it doesn't come, once they already get hooked in already at the initial stage, you do need a bit of a little bit what we call project management skills, right? Using project management skills, you actually need to rope in quite a lot of people, your data engineers and everybody together, all right, in order to see how can we actually get productionalize this particular model that's going on here. And that's how we actually can move forward. So once you build your first model and then you deploy and it's successful, after all the experimentation and everything, you actually build trust within the business itself. Let's just recap over here. Number one, right, selling ice to Eskimos. Make sure you have your selling craft in place itself, all right? And to do the selling craft, you need another 2 more points, all right? So know your audience, all right? And number 3 is be wildly curious about your analysis or the model itself, all right? See how you can connect with the people that's using your projects in their day-to-day businesses. So that will be actually extremely helpful. Think always in their shoes, not so much in yours. Yeah, and then things can actually fly from there. That's it. Thank you very much.